Hey friends, so you are about to watch John and I interview Doug Warren, who's the owner of Ductz in Mid-Michigan. We talk a little bit about the national and international work that he's done, but then we pivot pretty quickly into the residential duct cleaning world. And of course we sell residential real estate, that's our specialty. We value this conversation that we had with Doug. He's an expert on indoor air quality, so much as duct cleaning is concerned. We ended up talking for a lot longer than we planned on. Doug is really interesting, he's a wealth of knowledge, so we split it into 2 videos. This is part 1. We hope you enjoy. So, hi friends, we are here to play a game of Ducks, Ducks, Goose.
I've heard all of these puns.
Duct. I guess I'm the goose. I'm fine with that. I figured we could put all our ducks in a row.
Yep, that works.
Okay.
I've heard that one.
Well planned. Okay. Awesome.
I usually tell people that we don't clean just ducks, we clean all waterfowl.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a whole new line of work for
Yeah.
you, cleaning the oil off of the geese and
Yeah.
stuff like that in the ponds.
Yeah. You have to be careful to not clean too many, otherwise the bill will be too high.
So who do we have here today?
I'm Doug Warren, owner of Ductz of Mid-Michigan. We're here in Jackson.
Yeah, awesome.
Thanks for having me on.
Are you limited to just Jackson? I think you mentioned something a little bit ago.
No, we travel all over the place. Residentially, we kind of stay in this general region. We work, I call it lake to lake. We'll go Lake Erie all the way to Lake Michigan for projects. But for commercial stuff, I mean, we travel all over the place.
Yeah.
The largest project we've worked on this year, we've been at Ypsilanti Public Schools almost all summer, but we went down to Puerto Rico after the hurricane, and
really?
we cleaned one of the Hilton hotels down there in a casino. A couple years ago, I went out and ran a project where we cleaned Fortune 500 company, Keysight Technologies, out in San Rafael, California. It's near San Francisco, where we cleaned their server room and their robotics division.
So those sensitive equipment, you have to be really careful with that. So how many Ducks franchises can handle that style of work, the casino resort
There's
style of work?
just a handful.
Just a handful?
A handful.
What makes you different from another Ducks franchise?
Experience.
Experience?
Yeah, experience.
Is that the only marker that makes you different?
You got to have enough staff. You have to have a large enough franchise, enough staff that you can send guys down to help out on projects like this, because some of the franchises are smaller, they might only have a couple of employees, and they can't they can't allow any of their guys to leave. It would completely shut down their operations at their home office.
So it's experience and staff size, and of course when you send a team away, you don't want to abandon your local
Correct. Yeah.
team, so you keep people back here. Okay,
Yep.
cool. I think you were mentioning that there's a job coming up in Arkansas?
Yeah, we received a phone call on that yesterday. We're just trying to figure out the logistics on that, for how many people we're going to be able to send down there to help out with that.
Interesting.
So Doug, we wanted to talk with you today. We don't deal in a lot of commercial real estate.
Okay.
One commercial deal going right now, actually. Yeah, it's just a multifamily though, so it just barely trickles into that commercial zone. So air quality is a huge thing that impacts quality of life inside of a house.
Yep.
Right? We wanted to talk to you about how Ductz intersects with, maybe you're selling your house, maybe you're buying a new house. How would you come into the scene and help somebody out?
Yeah, so when you purchase a new home, everybody wants, you kind of want to put your own stamp on it, right? When I move in, I want to do this with the cabinets in the kitchen, or I want to do this. A lot of people do remodeling. That's a good time after that remodeling to give us a call and have us come out and take a look. And what we'll do is we'll do a free estimate for you. We'll come out, we'll cut some access holes, we'll take some pictures, and we'll show you these pictures and let the consumer decide, hey, I'm comfortable breathing that in, or I'm not. Because when your system's running, this is on the EPA's website, when the system's running either, here in Michigan, we basically got 2 seasons, right? We got heating season, we got cooling season, right?
And sometimes the same day.
And so when those systems are running, it's circulating the same air in your home up to 7 times an hour.
Right.
So if your ducts are dirty and you're sensitive to those types of things, you're going to be breathing that in repeatedly. And they're saying now that because these new buildings are built so well and so tight, that indoor air quality can often be 5 times more
Worse.
contaminated
Yeah.
than outdoor air quality.
Yeah.
So one of the things that Ben and I have done is we've both gotten what's called a green designee. So we're very energy conscious,
Mhm.
and we're trying to educate our clients on
Mhm.
that as well.
Mhm.
And one of the things that we learned in that class is how tight buildings are getting, and there are specific designations that a consumer can receive depending on how tight their building is.
Mhm.
How do we work that with you?
Yeah.
What do we do to help those people, whether it's an existing home that's been upgraded or in a brand new home? How do we help them see the value of using?
Well, it's twofold. The most important thing is the indoor air quality.
Mhm.
And that kind of hits home for me because my wife and my oldest daughter both have asthma. Okay?
Yeah.
So when they get into environments with poor
Mhm.
indoor air quality, they notice it and they know it
Yeah.
right away. And, you know, before I got into this industry, I went to school to be a teacher.
Mm.
Okay? So I was going into education. And that was several years ago. And I wasn't able to find a teaching position that first year. And I have a friend who worked for the corporate office of Ductz. And we had just moved into a new home, and it was a brand new build. And
yeah.
my daughter was real little then, she's
Mhm.
15 now, and my wife were getting sick, kept having upper respiratory infections. They were coughing and sneezing. I'm like, this is a
Yeah.
brand new build, what's going
Yeah.
on? So I was telling my buddy Joshua that one day when we were golfing, he's like, you should probably get your ducts inspected and cleaned. I'm like, I never even heard of it. I'm
What?
Like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
I always thought, I was like, that sounds like a waste of money. Why would you do
Mhm.
something like
Mhm.
that? He goes, let me come out and we'll bring some cameras and we'll take some photos. So we took the photos, and our ducts were just caked full of drywall dust.
Yeah.
Duct tape
Yeah.
and McDonald's bags. The builders
Oh
had
my
just thrown
God.
everything on the floor and just swept it into the ducts. And that drywall dust, man, that just wreaks havoc on your lungs.
Yeah.
And so my wife and daughter, who were susceptible to it, every time they would get sick, it would carry on. They
Mhm.
couldn't get rid of this
Mhm.
the sickness, and we'd end up at the doctors.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, long story short, that's how I got into the industry.
Mhm.
Okay,
Wow.
so that's first of all, that's the second thing is efficiency.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
so.
Sure. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, heating and cooling companies, you know, they come out and they clean, you know, your furnace and stuff. And some of what we do is, obviously, we clean the ducts. We'll open up a furnace and contact vacuum all the. But we don't pull anything. I try not to do the same type of work as heating and cooling guys.
Sure.
A lot of my work comes from those guys.
Yeah.
So, kind of the way that I do is I just kind of stay in my lane, and I just want to be better at this than anybody else in the area.
Yeah.
And that's what we work at.
Ooh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with the efficiency aspect, you know, as that dirt debris is getting pushed through that system, it's clogging up the blower,
Mhm.
it's getting stuck inside the ducts, and so the system is working harder than it needs
Right.
to push the air through it. So when we come in and we clean a system, you know, we're getting all of that out of there. So the
Right.
system
Right.
is working like it was brand new. It's efficient again.
Mhm.
And, you know, you get more bang for your buck with your energy cost as well.
Yeah.
So something that I've seen personally, and Ben, you would get a kick out of this, and I know there's going to be a pun come out of one of these two
Yeah.
things,
Okay.
is that, and the only way I can describe it is that they have this hose
Mhm.
with like these beads, not beads, but long leather strips with beads on the end, that when it rotates, it just knocks dust out of those
Oh, sure.
ducts like you can't believe.
Mhm.
The second thing is that, and this is where I'm sure the pun will be, that you have to have a mechanical license to cut a hole in ductwork.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah. Yeah.
You heard that?
I heard it from
Yeah.
Doug.
Yeah.
So-
he's educating me.
Most people
Like you wanted to. Hey, all along.
Most
Yeah.
people don't do that, or
Yeah.
don't know that, and they just call somebody over at the shop back and say, hey, come out and sweep out my ducts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not the same. So I think that is just so incredible that, you know, we learn that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
so that we can help you
Right?
with getting clients educated.
Right.
Yeah.
There's so much goes into it, but you should see that thing where it just whips around, and he's got a camera of that,
Yeah.
a video of that showing it. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Of
basically
course, it's a guy thing.
Yeah.
basically the way that we clean a system is we have these they're called negative air machines. They're just giant vacuums. And so what we'll do is we'll cut an access hole in the system, and we'll put the whole system under vacuum. We'll partition the supply from the cold air side of the system. We clean them each individually. We put the whole system under vacuum, and then we're going to walk around and we're going to seal off all the vents. And that's twofold. It creates additional pressure, and then it also prevents from any contaminants being exhausted out of the ductwork and into the home. So we seal it, and then what we do is, he described it as leather strips. They're actually like these long, long plastic rods. We call them viper rods because they bend around like snakes, right? Yep. So we run those down through the system, and then we use different types of whips and agitation tools. We'll use brush, and it's all dependent on the contaminants. If you're in a home that had smokers, that nicotine kind of gets inside that system and like gums it up. And so we have to use like a rigid silica tip brush to get in there and really aggressively remove that. And then when there's flex duct work, we have to use a softer brush. We use air nozzles, and anything that we use different types of tools depending on what type of system we're cleaning, just to dislodge that dirt and debris, push it out of the system into the vacuum.
That's something that before intersecting with your business, I never thought of that as something to be cleaned specifically after a smoker. My very first duplex that I had ever listed had tenants that lived in it for 10 years whose lease said don't smoke and whose decisions were to smoke. So everything, the cabinets, the light fixtures, the walls were all yellowed, caked with tar with nicotine. It was absolutely disgusting, and going in there, there was always a smell, and then the owner painted over everything with primer, right?
Which
so
helps.
it helps, and the cabinets were still disgusting. He didn't change anything about the cabinets, so those still stunk, but never did anything with the ductwork at all in there. And it probably, he sold it. Somebody else is now the wonderful recipient of that property that's probably in great condition now, hopefully. And they may have intersected with you. They may have hired you to clean the ducts, or they may still have a lot of tar inside of that property.
We do get a lot of those calls, and it's usually for a new homeowner that moves into a home that they don't smoke, and they instantly notice that smell. And you guys, as agents, you guys notice it, right? As soon as you walk into a house, you're like, oh, smokers have been in there. And some people can't handle that. Really?
John, it's a long story.
It's a long story.